So the fourth element of Wolsey's domestic reforms was the introduction of the Amicable Grant in 1525. So we'll look at why he tried to introduce it, what it was, and why it caused such problems in England. So in 1525, King Henry VIII wanted to take advantage of the fact that the King of France, Francis I, had been imprisoned by Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor. He wanted to take advantage of this by invading France while Francis was gone and in prison. So he needed some money in order to raise an army and invade France during this period. He needed a lot of money to do this. However, there wasn't a lot of money around. In 1522, there was already a forced loan that had been introduced, and the money had never been repaid. Again, in 1523, Parliament had in fact introduced a new tax, and that money was still being collected. So in 1523, Parliament passes a new tax, and that money is still being collected. In 1522, the government takes out a forced loan on the people, and they haven't paid the money back yet. So when Henry VIII needs some more tax to pay for his planned invasion of France in 1525, the Parliament says no. They're not going to raise any more taxes because of these issues. So Wolsey comes up with this idea of the Amicable Grant. And if you want to translate it, it kind of sort of means a friendly gift. Amicable is another word for friendly, and grant is a kind of a gift, a giving of money. You grant somebody money. So Wolsey tries to sell this as basically another forced loan. But Wolsey tries to sell it as a friendly gift given by the nobility and the landowners to the king in order to show their love and gratitude for the king and to help him with his war against France. This was called the Amicable Grant. What's key to remember is that this was not voted for by Parliament, and lots of people didn't see it as a friendly gift or an amicable grant. They saw it as a forced loan. They saw it as illegal. So you can imagine the reaction of the people who were forced to pay it was not terribly friendly. Already, the situation in Tudor England was quite bad in some places. There was high unemployment, and the price of food and other goods was rising, so people didn't have enough money to keep up with the price of food. They were hungry and they were poor. They couldn't afford this. Even the church stepped in, and in some areas, churchmen were leading protests against the Amicable Grant. It was a deeply unpopular move. In East Anglia, this is where it got most severe. In East Anglia, this is Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex. The people of East Anglia rose up against it. And in 1525, people in Lavenham, around 4,000 of them, actually took to the streets to protest against Cardinal Wolsey's Amicable Grant. So, what was the key result of the Amicable Grant? Well, eventually, the Duke of Norfolk and the Duke of Suffolk went to the Lavenham to suppress the uprising, and they sided with the rebels and said that we agree with their complaints. They didn't like Cardinal Wolsey, so it suited them to see his plan fail. They wanted to side with the rebels to show the king that Cardinal Wolsey's Amicable Grant was a disaster. In the end, Wolsey was forced to abandon the Amicable Grant, and Henry VIII was then forced to abandon his planned invasion of France. You can imagine, therefore, how Henry VIII felt about Cardinal Wolsey given the failure of his attempts to raise more money for the king, and now the king is humiliated because he can't invade France the way he wanted to. So the Amicable Grant, a forced loan disguised as a friendly gift from the nobility in order to raise money to invade France during the King of France's imprisonment by Charles V in 1525. Thanks for watching. Hopefully these short videos about Cardinal Wolsey's domestic reforms have been helpful for you and not too quick or not too long. Thanks for watching.